2012, I said to everyone, I'm going to run 50 miles every single day for 50 days. They said no human can run that amount of miles. It's impossible. Plus, you weigh 16 stone and you don't run very well. And I said, why? Why will I not be able to do it? I thought, well, I wonder how far I actually can run. I've never run a marathon, didn't particularly like running. So I got up on Boxing Day of 2011, stuck my trainers on, and I ran 89 miles. I was living in Skipton at the time. I ended up in the middle of Saddleworth Moor. I had to ring my brother and say, I actually don't know how to get home now. Can you come and pick me up? When I got home, I thought, you know what, I don't feel too bad. I'll try it again tomorrow. And then something in me just thought, I wonder how many times I can do that over and over and over again. I'm unbelievably patriotic. I absolutely love being from England. I love being from Yorkshire. I believe the reason why I can do certain things is because of where I'm from. Now, there's an American bloke called Dean Carneses, and he ran a marathon in every single state. Now, to me, I just thought, you know what, whatever the Yanks can do, I'm just going to beat them. But because I'm a maths teacher, I thought, I like nice, easy numbers, 50, 50, 2,500. Now, that would have doubled what Dean Carneses did. I got onto the start line April 6, 2012, stood in the middle of Blackpool Promenade. If you've ever been, it's pretty grim. It was raining, and I was stood thinking, what the flipping heck have I done here? I set off, headed north, and pushed all the way up into Scotland. It was unbelievably brutal, harder than I'd ever thought it would have been. The first day, I ran 50 miles in 9 hours, stupidly quick. The second day, I ran 50 miles in 19 hours. That was the difference. The pain had hit me. I'd never really been into Scotland. I'd been to a couple of naval bases, that had been about it. I didn't quite appreciate the brutality of the landscape until I got there. But a lot of people that do major challenges, they have good physios, doctors, nurses, medics, nutritionists telling them what to eat, when to eat, giving them a rub down on an evening. I didn't really have any of that. There was me, a pair of trainers that my mate had lent me, a few pairs of shorts that I'd have to buy from Sports Direct, and people that came to drive for me in the camper van. The camper van was built in 1971. In 1971, the average height of a bloke in this country, I think, must have been about 4'5", because I did not fit in that camper van very well. Somebody just turned up, whether it was a friend, family member, somebody I worked with, anyone who I could beg to just give up one day would come and drive behind me. Just in case I fell over, they could scrape me off the ground, put me back up, and I could go again. The main question I get asked about 2012 is, what was the hardest day? What's the hardest thing you've ever had to do? I'd been running for 10 days, and I was in a lot of pain. But we're in glorious sunshine, which I know is incredibly unusual. But my feet were squelching, and I looked back along the road, and the 100 metres behind me, there was just a big trail of blood behind me. And I just thought, flipping it, that's not good. So I sat down at the side of the road, took my trainer off, pulled my sock off. 3 of my toenails had come out of the front of my foot. They'd gone underneath, and they were lodged in the bottom of my foot. And blood was just hammering out everywhere. I couldn't really stop it. And I picked the bits of toenail out of the base of my foot, sat with them in my hand and looked at them for a while. I wrapped my foot up for a while and sat there and thought about things, and I thought, that's only 10 days of running. I made one of the toughest decisions I've had to make in a long time. And the hardest bit was my mum was driving the camper van for me at the time. But I went back and I said, Mum, I just need you to get out. I just need you to walk down the road, and whatever you hear, you just carry on walking. I go to the toolbox, I get the pliers out of the toolbox, and one by one, I take the other 7 toenails out of my feet. Now, some people will turn around and say, why? If I hadn't have taken my toenails out, I ran the risk of not being able to finish, and I would prove all those people right that told me it was impossible. There are people that will never ever walk again because they have lost legs, they have been injured in conflict. So for me, it was 10 minutes of unbelievable pain, but they grow back. And I raise money and I do these things for those that can no longer do them. They want to. And so that's why, in the back of my mind, I just keep those people there. And I remember why I'm doing it. In 2012, I managed to get all the way around. To put it into some sort of context of what it did to me, I weigh 16 stone. When I finished running, I weighed 10 stone in 50 days. It ravaged my body. It hurt unbelievably. Stress fractures through my legs. I fell off the pavement and broke my elbow, but I managed to keep going. Then I decided, I wonder what else I can do. So 2017, I decided if I could do the same thing, and I'll try it in America. But because I'm a teacher, I only have 6 weeks, and I needed to be able to go a little bit faster. So in America, we decided that I was going to run 50 miles and then cycle 150 the next day. My bike is a 600-pound bike off eBay, but I went across America faster than anyone else ever has. So really, the amount that you spend doesn't mean anything. It is down to the person, and it is down to their mindset and what they're able to push themselves through. I don't have a mass budget to spend, so I have to use things that everyone could just go out and buy at any point. I am sure they will bring Wattbikes in as some sort of unusual form of torture, but I don't own one. I have to go to the gym and sit on theirs. And then I have to have a very good arrangement with the gym, and they let me go in after hours so I can do longer bike sets. In February this year, I broke the world record on the Wattbike. 24 hours, 488 miles. Mark Beaumont, he holds the world record for going around the world the fastest. It was his record that I broke. Again, a guy that is paid professionally to do these sort of things. He don't have to do simultaneous equations on Monday morning. I burned 18,000 calories in 24 hours and I lost 1 stone in weight. Coming up in July, I've got to be able to cycle for 2 days solid. Having just come from after school detention, straight into it. It's quite good. It might come across that I'm some sort of sadist, that I enjoy suffering. I don't enjoy suffering. I think you'd be relatively stupid if you did enjoy suffering. What I enjoy is the result that suffering brings. I know that I need to suffer in order to be able to do these things. So that's what I try and get across to the people that I teach at school when I do speeches like this. I say to them, you've got to work out how to suffer. You've got to work out how to get through it. Make your mind like steel. Now, coming up this summer, it is the toughest triathlon. The person that has done this before, it took him 7 years to do. Because the plan is to swim the channel, to come back, get on my bike, Land's End to John O'Groats in less than 44 hours. And I'm going to run 100 miles a day back down. Made only more tougher by the fact that I cannot swim. When I say I can't swim, I couldn't swim. But again, if I want to show kids and people today what technology can do, I have learnt to swim by putting a drone up above me and I can see what I'm doing with my arms, what my legs are doing. Then I can compare it to a YouTube video and I can see whether I'm getting better. All of it is designed to try and make me go as fast as possible. When it comes to running, I would love to say there is some kind of technological advance to it. But when you're doing 100 miles, stuff goes out the window. It is all down to the steel. It is all down to what you've got inside you, what your body's made of. I don't think I'm going to do it as 100 miles a day. What I think I'm going to do is run as far and as long as I can. So I'm just going to set off from John O'Groats and I'm going to aim to keep running for 3 days solid. If I can do 3 days, I've probably got 4 in me, where I'll no doubt collapse somewhere, and that's when support team come in, scrape me off the road, help me get changed, give me something to eat, and then I'll go again. Now, you might think to yourself, he'll never ever quit. Never. Because if I do that, I'm letting down all those school kids that I have said, dream bigger than what you can ever imagine. Now, I've taught in the middle of Bradford. Bradford is the most deprived area in the country right now. But what I say to those kids is, it don't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter what you have. All that matters is, have a goal, have something that somebody says that's impossible. Now, what I'm saying to you right now is, whatever you want to do, whatever your goal is, go and do it. What I mostly say to people is, imagine that you could meet the 8-year-old version of you. Would the 8-year-old version of you be sat thinking, wow, look at what I managed to do. Look at where I am and what I've done. Or would the 8-year-old version of you scream at you and say, go and get your sodding trainers on, get off your ass and run. Go and do something, and go and do something amazing, and flipping smile when you do it. It could be a heck of a lot worse.